let's imagine that you're applying for a job. You want to be an assistant professor. Or let's suppose that you're seeking a promotion. And on many university campuses, you are asked to give a DEI statement in which you say, I plan to, one of the reasons why you should hire me, or one of the reasons why you should promote me, is because I'm going to, advance the DEI ambitions.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion, for people who don't know. This is the general set of programs that most universities now have.
Yes, that's right. So, you've got to sort of, basically what you're being asked to do, whether they say it explicitly or not. They don't say this explicitly, but this is what is up. What you're being asked to do is to say, I'm down with the diversity, equity, and inclusion ethos, program, policy, campaign. And here's what I've done that shows that I'm down with this program, and therefore I'm okay. Well, a lot of what I do would fit very comfortably within that. But let's suppose that I didn't. Just suppose I didn't like this. And by the way, there's certain aspects of the DEI, industry that I don't like. You mean to tell me that, I'm being judged at an academic institution? Let's suppose I want to be a chemist. Let's suppose I want to be a physicist. Let's suppose I want to be, I don't care, a critic of literature. I oppose this program. I don't, I don't think this is the way in which higher education should be going. Should I have to, on pain of relinquishing my ability to be hired, should I have to sign on to this? Just suppose, and let's change it around. Let's not make it a DEI campaign. Let's make it a Make America Great Again campaign. What would we think then? Let's suppose it was something that said, instead of it saying DEI, let's make it say the advancement of American capitalism as we know it. We want you to be down with that. What have you done that shows us that you believe in the advancement of capitalism in America? Would I be happy about? No, I would say this is no. Well, no, with respect to these, as far as I'm concerned, with the DEI statements. Oh, here's another one. I just learned, and in fact, there's certain things that are happening. And I must say, I'm in academia, but it's news to me. I didn't know until relatively recently about positionality statements. So these are statements in which somebody writes an article. Let's suppose, I write an article, and it's not enough for me just to submit my article to some law review or to some other sort of journal. No, in addition to me submitting my article, I've got to give a positionality statement in which I say whether I am, gay or straight or what have you, in which I say my race, in which I say my nationality, in which I say my stance toward this ideological position or that ideological position.
Interesting.
What?
Is this becoming a kind of a standard?
I don't know how widespread it is. I know there was a very good article in the New York Times a couple of days ago about these positionality statements. And in fact, that's what sort of tipped me off. Somebody had told me there's a law review at my home institution. And I had a friend who sort of mentioned this offhandedly and who said, well, I submitted an article to this journal and I was a little bit taken aback insofar as they did have me fill out a questionnaire. in which I was required to state my race, state this, state that, state the other. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, well, what does that have to do with a proper assessment of somebody's work? This concerns me. I'm concerned about the fact a little while ago you mentioned the word Negro. I was talking with colleagues a couple months ago, and somebody mentioned that this word had come up in their class because what had happened was one student was reading from a Supreme Court decision, and the word Negro was part of what they read out, and another student held up his hand and said to the student who was reading, "Hey, you should be careful because, I find the word Negro offensive, and you need to be careful about even saying a word that would be offensive to someone." And this person, and then, the teacher was, well, what should I say in those circumstances? What should I have said? And I volunteered, and I said, well, guys, that's really interesting because see, if that had come up in my class, I would have said, well, frankly, I don't see what I don't even see what the big deal is because I use the word Negro. And, Harvard University is not on some island that is, apart from everything else that's happening in the world. If these things are happening in other places, if they're happening at Stanford, if they're happening at Yale, if they're happening at Columbia, they're going to happen at Harvard. But thus far, and I am most especially experienced in life at Harvard Law School. Harvard Law School is an open environment in which ideas are tested, and they are tested fully. And it's because of that I say I have been fully supported at Harvard Law School, feel that it is an excellent place in which to do work. I'm a fan. I am a fan, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. I am a fan of my workplace, Harvard Law School. Very happy to be associated with Harvard.